Hi everybody. I've been sitting here messing with my hair thinking it looked pretty bad, but then I realized that this is not a hair video. This is an eye video. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time this morning doing some TruAura Eyes. What I'm working with today is several of the palettes. I'm going to be using After Midnight. You can tell I use this one a whole lot. After Midnight, Smoke and Mirrors, and Coffee Shop. And I'm going to be using the Bouquet blush, the Quad bronzer, and several different brushes. I'm going to also start with some of the light concealer, and I always have a little concealer brush or a small eyeshadow brush with concealer on it for cleanup, and I'll show you that here in a minute. I always have one or two little pieces of paper with straight edges. I'll show you what I use that for. And so I'm just kind of going to do some eye makeup today. So let's get started. I start with some of the TruAura concealer, and I use the light shade. I'm going to put just a little bit on my fingertip. Let's see if I can get a little bit. Don't want much. It doesn't take much. Maybe. So I'm going to use just a tiny little dot on two fingertips. And I'm going to start just over my eye. And I use the lightest shade because I like to get a truer color. It's kind of like putting a blue on a piece of white paper or a blue on a piece of pink paper. Kind of changes the color a little bit. But I just start with a little bit all over my eyes and under. And I usually bring this down a little bit, so let's just do that. So I start with the TruAura concealer in the shade of light. I think first thing I'm going to do is eyebrows, because I like to know where my frame is in my eye, and I bring my eyeshadow up to my eyebrow on the inside of my eyebrow, inside start. So I'm going to start with eyebrows, and what I'm going to do is just brush my eyebrows up a little bit. And then I am going to use the Coffee Shop, and I get kind of confused as to what these colors are. This one says vanilla, chocolate, and espresso. I would think that it would be vanilla, chocolate, and espresso, but I'm not for sure. But I'm going to use this middle shade right here for some of my eyebrow. And I'm going to use a, where is it? This has got a spoolie brush on one side and an angled brush on the other. And it's real thin and it's pretty rigid. I like brushes that are pretty rigid. So I'm going to just take, I'm going to start with some balancing mist. I'm just going to put a dot of it on my desk here and just barely wet the tip of this brush. And I'm going to take some of this shade right here. Let me see if I can get this to where you can see. And I'm going to do just the lower side of my brow, and I just follow my natural arch. Okay? Just follow my natural arch. And then I'm going to bring it down just a bit. I get a little bit more liquid on my, so I'm going to get it on both sides. I don't add to my brow any on the bottom side. I might add some on the top side. Okay, so I've got a pretty natural arch right here. And then I'm going to take some of the darker shade right here, and I'm just going to put a little bit little tiny strokes up off of that line that I just drew, or that I just kind of enhanced. And then I'm going to brush that in. I'm going to do it on both sides, get a little more water, a little more balancing mist, and I'm going to go to this side and just some little strokes of color. And I'm going to brush that up. Now I'm going to get a little bit more of the balancing mist on my brush, and I'm going to take some of the darker shade again. Here, I think it's the chocolate, but I'm not for sure. And I'm going to get some color here. Now I'm going to start, when I build the top of my brow, I start from the outside edge, and I kind of follow the muscle along my orbital socket and build kind of according to my muscle. Now everybody has their own way of doing it. That's just my way. So I start on the outside edge, and I'm going to just add a little on the top to give it a little more thickness in my brow. I have naturally really blonde brows, so I dye them because they are so blonde, but I still have to fill in some. So I'm going to do that right here. It looks like I need to kind of put a little bit of concealer right here. So let's go just a little bit right there. Okay, I'm okay with that. And you know, you've heard the saying, and I really appreciate the saying, is that they're sisters, they're not twins, and so I don't believe in stencils or things like that. They're, you know, as long as they frame the eye in a nice manner and they look clean, I'm good. So I might need to come in a little bit more with this. Right there. So, and then I'm going to just kind of brush those up a little bit. Okay, eyebrows done. So, next, let's start with this with the eyelid, and I'm going to use, this is just a Wet n Wild brush, and it's their little eyeshadow brush. It costs $2 or $3. I don't know how much it costs, but it's pretty inexpensive. But I like the brush. And I use this one specifically for pale colors. So here you can tell that on this After Midnight, this is Starlight, Indigo, and Pewter. So I'm sure that I'm thinking it's Starlight, Indigo, and Pewter. And obviously I use a lot of Starlight. So I'm going to use this little brush, and I'm going to put some of this Starlight right under my brow, right there, and right here. Okay, I'm also going to go right on the inside. My skin is really thin right here. If you look closely, or if I look closely, I can see capillary activity because it is so thin. So it looks kind of blue because of the blood flow that's so topical. So I kind of just go over that, and I'm going to go over from the inside of my eye to the middle of my pupil with this Starlight. Okay, and then also when I put a little bit of makeup on today, I kind of play around my cheekbone. So with highlighter, my cheekbone is right here, and I'll put a little bit of contour under my cheekbone, maybe from here up towards my ear, but I put it where you can push up and feel the bone. So that's where I put a little contour. Highlight, my blush goes right on the bone, and highlight, I want to feel the bone pushing down onto the bone is where I want to put some highlight. So a lot of times I will put this right there as well, just right on the very top of that bone, And I'll come back in a minute and I'll brush it in and blend everything. So I'm going to start with some white right here and white right here on both eyes and here. Okay, I might also just kind of brush this a little bit under my eye to just kind of get things started. All right, so that's the what I highlight with. So I think I'm going to go now to the Coffee Shop, and I'm going to use again this middle shade with a little bit of a fluffier brush. So I'm going to go with a brush that's a little wider and pretty loose, not rigid. And I'm going to take this shade right here. So I'm going to get some of that on my brush, and I'm not going to go, okay, so this is my lid. Let me get something to point with. This, if I refer to this as my lid, this is my orbital fold. You can push in and feel your eyeball. So that's my orbital fold. This is my mid eye, and then under my brow. So I'm not going to go into my orbital fold with this color. I'm going to go into my mid section of my eye right above the orbital fold, okay? So I'm going to go there. Let me get where I can see. I'm going to go there, and I take this color up into my eyebrow. This is where I connect it. So I kind of take that right up to where it touches right here. I take this middle shade up to where it touches the front of my eyebrow, and then back down. I don't go up with it with this color. I don't go up on the outside, and I'll show you what I do with that later, because I don't typically do a winged eyeshadow, a winged eyeliner, but I do like everything to move upward, so that my eyes kind of have more uplifting. And I'll show you what I do in just a second. So I'm going to go to my left eye. This is my right eye. This is my left eye. So I'm going to take some of the middle shade again, and I'm going to the mid section of my eye. And I'm going to go right, get my mirror here. I have a mirror right here, right there. So I kind of am watching it too. So I'm going to go to the mid section of my eye and up to the front of my brow, right here. And like I said, this is TruAura's Color Balance eyeshadow, and this is Coffee Shop. It's got 3 beautiful colors in it, and you can tell where I wet. When I use it for eyeliner, I wet it. It kind of puts a glaze over the shadow, so I don't ever wet the whole thing. I use one little side of it when I'm wetting it for eyeliner. So that's why this is kind of shiny right here. But so I'm using this shade right here on the midsection of my eye and up into my eyebrow. Okay, see where I've done that? All right, so now I'm going to go to another palette, and I'm gonna go to no, let's do this first. Let's go, I'm gonna stay with Coffee Shop. I'm going to get another brush, and this is a liner smudge brush. So I'm going to get a little bit of moisture on it, my balancing mist, and I'm going to take this darkest I'm thinking this might be chocolate, but here where I have wet this before, I'm going to get some of it because my brush is damp, and I'm going to go just on the bottom side of my lid under my waterline. Let's see. Okay, let me get a little bit more balancing mist and a little bit more of the darker shade in here. And I'm going to go sometimes I don't look at what I'm doing. I feel what I'm doing. And I want this up really close to my eyelashes on the lower lid. And I can kind of feel where that is. So, just a little bit of shadow down there. Now I might also, I think I will. I'm going to, hang on. I have to kind of compare these two. I have two browns here. So this is Coffee Shop and this is After Midnight. And they both have a deep brown. This one in the Coffee Shop, and then this is I think this might be pewter, but it's kind of a blue-based brown that's beautiful. So I think I will use that. I'm going to stay with this smudge liner. I am going to get it wet with my balancing mist, and I'm going to go to the darkest, not the indigo blue, but this darker brown. And so I'm going to get some of that on my brush. And here I am going to go into my orbital fold. And I kind of will tighten this skin right here so that I can push into that fold. And that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to just push where you can kind of feel your eyeball. Or I can kind of feel my eyeball. So I'm going to get a little bit more and do this side. So I'm going to hold this where I can push it into that eye socket. All right, on both sides. Okay. Oh, you know what I don't have? I don't have my color changer. Hang on just a second. Because I don't know if I've used this brush. I think I did use it a while ago. I love these color changers. This has got like a rough sponge in it, and it's great for I mean, I could use black on this and then go over the color changer about 2 or 3 seconds and then come back with white, and it would be perfectly fine. So I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to do it because I'm going to blend this a little bit now. So I'm just going to, into that orbital socket, I'm going to just blend that in. And then I'm going to bring it up right here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is, because I'm a pinky person, I'm going to go over most of this with some of my Bouquet pink in this color right here. And I think it's poppy. No, I think it's peony. I think this is poppy and this is peony. I'm not sure. But I'm going to, because I cleaned this off, I'm going to take some of this darker pink in the Bouquet, and I'm going across all of this. Everything that I've done so far except the highlighting up here. So I'm going over all of that with some pink. And I'm going to go right in the center of my lid, right above my iris, with some pink. If you can see that. All right. The last shadow that I put on is going to be the darkest thing that I use on my eye, and I am going to use the indigo in the After Midnight. So this is a very dark blue. I think it's beautiful. I love this shade. I think it is a gorgeous shade, and I tend to do a more dramatic eye than a lot of people. I don't have the greatest nose, I don't have the greatest chin, I don't have beautiful cheekbones, but I have pretty decent eyes. So I usually play those up. So this is where I will use a little piece of paper. You can use a Post-it note. I usually have Post-it notes around. I usually have pieces of paper. This one is kind of large, and so I don't waste it. I'll tear it in half because I've got 3 straight edges, and all I want is the straight edge. And then I'm going to use a brush. Let's see, this one. This one is, maybe that, no. Okay, this one's kind of a little more dense than that fluffy thing I blended with a while ago. It's still pretty soft and pliable, but it's a little more stiff. It has a little more body in it. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take this indigo blue right here, and I'm going to get some of this on. Here's where I use my paper. I put this piece of paper right along my water rim of my lower lid and up toward my eyebrow, and I hold it pretty close to the skin because I want a good edge right there. I don't do a winged eyeliner, but I still like that upsweep. So I'm going to do it with shadow, and I'm going to put this blue on the outside edge and then up just a little. Some people do a V right here, or a less than sign and a greater than sign, but I do feel that middle in some, so I don't, it's more of a, it's not so much a V as it is just that outer edge. So I'm going to take it and right along that piece of paper. You can come down onto the paper, you can see here, and when you take it away, you're going to have a very nice edge. So if, like, I don't usually do this, if you have a little bit of shadow that bleeds through, this is where I always have a little brush with concealer on it, and it is specifically for cleanup. So I'm going to just clean that up right there, and I have my edge. Let's do the other eye with this brush. So we're going to get some of the blue on the shadow brush, this right here, and I do quite a bit. And I'm going to take this piece of paper again and put it right along the water rim of the lower part of your eye and up towards your eyebrow. Hold it pretty stiff or pretty tight to your skin, and then just fill it in. I'm going to go up a little bit, in a little bit, and along that paper line. Take it away and you have a hard edge. So I like that. Then I'm going to go back with, hang on. I'm going to go back with a fluffy brush and my paper. I'm going to hold my line, and now I'm just going to blend it. Right there. And right there. Okay. I'm going to use that same color blue in a very fine brush. Stiff, it's got a lot of stiffness in it, and I'm going to do an eyeliner. Right there. Get a little bit more moisture on it by balancing mist, a little more of the dark blue. I got babies crying in the background. Okay, and then I'm going to do a little underneath. And I will follow that line up a little. So there we have eyeliner, eyeshadow, eyebrows. The only thing we need to do now is some mascara. I absolutely positively love TruAura's mascara. It is clean. It's good for your microbiome, as is everything in our line. All of the makeup, all of the color line, all of the skincare, everything is microbiome friendly. It's all probiotic prebiotic based, and it's very difficult to get a clean mascara. This is TruAura's Lash Enhancing Mascara. It's black. It's got a great brush on it. It's kind of a stiffer. I love it. It's great to get into all of the fine lashes, the long lashes. It also has a hinge, so you can hinge it, get it into the corners of your eyes really easily. But I start with just a spoolie brush and my balancing mist. I'm going to show this to you. This is one of the best products I have ever used. I use it on my hair. I use it on my lashes. I use it to wet my brushes to make the pigment in my eyeshadows darker. I use it on my skin. I keep one in the refrigerator. When it's hot outside, I come in and mist my face, or sometimes my whole body, with refrigerated balancing mist. I just love this. I put it on before I use my makeup. I put it on after my makeup to set my makeup. It is the best product. I promise you, you cannot go wrong with this. It's wonderful. I love it. But I used to use a primer on my lashes, and then a Hollywood makeup artist who was working with one of the big companies, I can't even remember who it was now, did my eyes one time, and he said just to wet my lashes with water. So I started doing that. It's a great trick. It makes your mascara go on more individually onto your lashes, but I started using the balancing mist, and I like it even better. So what I do is I just spritz my spoolie brush, and then I wet my lashes. Both sides, and then I go back with my mascara. And I will put two coats of mascara on, but not real close together. So I'm going to let this dry, and I'll come back in the next 10 minutes and put another coat on. But I will get to the inside, these little inside lashes. So easy to get to with this hinged brush. And I don't do mascara on my lower lashes. I just kind of think it muddies up the look of my eye. So it's something that I kind of stay away from. But here's TruAura Eyes, and that is with using smoke and mirrors, a little bit, not much. After midnight, this is mostly after midnight and coffee shop. Let me show these to you one more time. So this is coffee shop. This is after midnight. I used pink on my eyes with the color balancing blush in the colors Bouquet. Now I'm going to finish up with, I'm just going to take this fluffy brush, and I'm going to use a little bit of our bronzer, and I'm going to take this lightest shade, and I'm going to just kind of go over the edges with this, because I don't really like to see edges, but I like to have I like to have the hard line that kind of sweeps up. And then I'll take a little bit of that color, come over this cheekbone, and I may take our beauty blender and then just kind of pat that in this corner right there. And now I will take some of the balancing mist don't forget this product. It's tremendous. And I'm going to spray my whole face. And I'm going to take our blender, and it's my 2-year-old got a hold of it and did some artwork on it. But this is how I set my makeup. And now I'm going to do one last thing, and it's a little bit of lipstick. I do still use a lipstick pencil. And I'm going to do a little bit of contouring on my lips. I'm going to use the Bordeaux, which is a very deep plum color. And I'm going to put it just on the edge of my lips. I'm going to take a brush and push that up to the edge. Then I'm going to make sure that I get the corners with the deeper shade. Always get the corners of your lips. Then, this again is Bordeaux, and it's beautiful. Look at this. And I'm going to the center of my lips with Petal. This right here. I'm going to take a brush again. And I'm going to finish up with another one of my absolute favorite TruAura products, and that is the lip balm. It's a Nourishing Lip Balm. It is a probiotic based clean balm, no petroleum. And so I'm just going to get some on a brush. And that's it. Eyes are done. TruAura Eyes. That's my morning routine. Pretty much how I always, well, I'm going to do a few different colors. I'm going to come back. I don't normally do golds and greens and rust and stuff, but TruAura has a palette that I really am getting to like it a lot. And I'm going to show you how a blonde hair, blue-eyed girl can do those rusty colors. So maybe tomorrow or the next day, I'm not real sure when I'll do it, but I'll do one and kind of go out of my comfort zone. But this is my comfort zone. I wanted to just kind of show you how I did my eyes today. So I hope you enjoyed it. Tune in, and I'll be seeing you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.